Hello and welcome. It's Bev from Living Fabulously, and today I'm here to explore some alternatives to 3 dairy products that people say they can't live without. And it was so interesting because I did some research by asking a question in one of the Facebook groups, and there was a resounding number 1 on cheese. People felt that cheese was the one thing they couldn't live without. And in fact, a lot of people use the word can't, and I've used the word can't here in this, lead up into this information. And actually, can't is such a limiting word because it means that you are not giving yourself the opportunity to make any change. So you're actually putting on the brakes before you've even tried something. So today I'd like you to consider, as you listen to that, is if you have been using the word, I can't give up cheese, or can't give up my yogurt, or so on, is just realize that there are opportunities for you to change that. So using your mindset, first and foremost, is going to support your decision for a healthy dairy-free lifestyle. So the first one that I mentioned alternatives for was cheese. And you can make homemade either cream cheese or soft crumbly cheese, and there are hundreds of recipes, absolutely hundreds of recipes. And what you do is you make this cheese with nuts like cashews, macadamia, Brazil nuts, or almonds. And in fact, the soft creamy cheeses are really quite easy to adapt to. So they have the same visual appeal, and they have the same texture. And other people have mentioned that using nutritional yeast, so that's different from baker's yeast, but nutritional yeast tastes a lot like, or gives the flavor of, Parmesan cheese. And so you could use that and sprinkle that on your meal where you use Parmesan cheese. And it's really good for you because it's high in vitamin B12. And then if you are looking for a hard or sliceable cheese, what you would do is find a recipe that actually adds something like a tapioca starch and agar-agar, which is a replacement for gelatin. And you could use this recipes that they still are nut-based. So if you have a nut allergy, and there's no nuts that you can eat, well, this is going to be a problem for you. But if you can eat those nuts that I mentioned, particularly things like cashews create the creaminess that you need and the flavor. And then obviously the recipes that I've found have created really yummy, and they look like a Gouda or a cheddar cheese. So just be sure, though, to avoid highly processed vegan cheeses. So, yes, for convenience, you could go to the store and buy these cheeses, but please read the labels and make sure that you know what is in that cheese, because you might be adding to the problem, actually. Instead of being dairy-free and healthy, you may be adding to the problem with all sorts of weird and wonderful substitutes that they've added to make that product. So the second one is yogurt, or yogurt as some people say. And often people use this for baking or for in morning breakfast options or desserts. And one thing that I have done successfully is added live cultures or probiotics to plant or seed-based milks. And it creates the same approach. So that's exactly how they make yogurt or yogurt. And it is used with a live culture starter. So look for some recipes that appeal to you. And just be sure that any of the nut milks that you're using don't have added sweeteners or sugars in them. So you can make your own nut milks very easily. And there are hundreds of recipes online as well for nut milks or seed milks. I'm about to try making flaxseed milk, and I'm going to see if I can turn that into my yogurt. There are a lot of soy-based yogurts, and I would highly recommend that you avoid those because soy is an endocrine disruptor, and so then it affects your whole endocrine system, which is obviously your thyroid, your adrenals, and so on. So you really don't want to be using soy-based products. And then the third one is butter. And in the feedback that I got, there were people talking about how there's a strong association actually more with butter than with anything else. So they think of, that oozing butter on certain meals that they ate with the family, or, toast with butter. And so, yes, this is more of a challenge, I think, than the cheese and the yogurt. So for cooking and baking, you would use an oil that has a high set point. So an oil like coconut oil doesn't break down and create problems when it's heated. But you can also use, if you use a low temperature, for example, low and slow temperature, you could use olive oil, but it must not be heated above about 120 to 140 degrees Celsius. And if you were looking for something for a sandwich, if you still eat a sandwich, well, I'd suggest that you actually either, if you're having, a basic for a toast in the morning, is use something like a nut butter spread. Or if you're making a sandwich at lunchtime, is use moist ingredients. So if you have tomatoes or something, if you can't tolerate tomatoes, then look for a sauce of some kind that is homemade, that you know what ingredients are in it, and use that. So something like a whole egg mayonnaise may be suitable. Or sometimes you're just going to have to suck it up and go without it. So those are three alternatives that you can use to go dairy-free. Those three products, as I said, people said are the three things that they can't live without. And if you need more information on these type of products, I'd invite you to join me to the Healthy Me Dairy-Free webinar. The link is in the comments. And until next time, let's live the fab life together. Bye for now.